Johnny Wharff, along with Scott Barrows, class of 1981, and being inducted into the Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame October 21st at the Comfort Inn. This particular interview and induction special to me because I get a friend, I get a classmate, and the first one to represent, as they like to say, for the class of 1981. First, Scott, congratulations, and then maybe for our listeners, just what you're up to now.
Oh, well, thanks a lot. I'm very appreciative of it and very humbled by this induction. I've run a gamut through my life. I've played football. I've been a golf pro for 20 years, and now I'm a manager of a car dealership. So, staying busy.
All right, that's good, and that's always nice. We, look back at Scott Barrows as a football player, but I knew Scott Barrows as a basketball player, as a buddy, and then also track. I mean, that's something that probably you did more of in terms of the years that you were involved. So talk a little bit about track and first and the approach to that, because that's something I as a spectator I didn't really get to do much of. But talk a little bit about what you specialized in and then how you went about it.
Yeah, I threw shot and discus in high school. In my senior year, I finished fourth in the state with discus, and that was up at Buckeye Stadium. But there was a lot of, I almost set a state record and still finished fourth. So it was a tough year for discus throwing. Shot put, I made it to the regionals, but didn't make it to the state finals. But yeah, basketball was my true passion in high school. That's what's on my class ring and everything. And never thought about football, but it's weird how things work out sometimes. Well,
absolutely. And we talked to Rick Newsom, who's going into this class as well, and he didn't really know or think that he would be drafted. Talk a little bit about where you were in that stage of your life. Were you waiting on a call, or did you think it would happen, or how's that work?
Yeah, the offensive line coach from the Detroit Lions came to WVU and told me that the way it looked, if everything worked out, I'd be in the third or fourth round. So I'm waiting around for him and never got the call. So I ended up going to Detroit as a free agent. I bypassed going to New York for the Giants, but the Lions seemed like a better opportunity. And I think it's just being at the right place at the right time, and things have to roll the right way. But the first year I didn't make it. I ended up coming back to Marietta for a little while. Went back the next year, and a couple injuries happened, and I was at the right place at the right time, and then ended up sticking around for 3 years, and that was it.
All right, so now let's go back to Marietta High School again, and we talked about track, basketball, your passion, and then football, obviously, where you excelled beyond that. So talk about coaches. Coaches, mentors. Maybe sometimes it's the coach isn't the mentor. There might be another kid or a parent or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the main reason I went to West Virginia was because I visited a couple other schools. Ohio State was one, and then I went to West Virginia, and Don Nealon, who was a coach then at the time, was in basically his second year. He treated you like you were his son. His door was open. He took you in. He knew you by name. He knew where you were from. Knew all your stats. So that's why I ended up going there. But I actually went there as a tight end. And I'll tell you a funny story. When I first got there, after about 2 practices, Coach Nealon came up to me. He goes, Scott, we like our tight ends around 235 pounds. I'm about 265 at the time. He goes, so you can either eat salad and stay a tight end, or you can eat steak and go to the guard room. So I said, where's the guard room? And then I played guard the rest of my career.
Oh, my gosh, that is a great story. And so then, would it have been, who was your football coach here at Marietta?
Rich Hahn.
Rich Hahn.
Yep.
Okay, and then if you started as a sophomore, right? Or you played as a sophomore?
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit, not much. Mainly as junior and senior.
Were there guys like I'm just trying to think of a Bernie Brown or Modi's or Stafford's or any of those guys? That might have been a year ahead.
That was ahead of me, yeah. Yeah, there wasn't Ron Kidder and those guys, but
that played with you, Bob Brown.
Yeah, Bob Brown. Yep.
Okay, all right.
A lot of names from the past.
Yeah, I know. We could sit here and do this all day when you get right down to it.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your folks growing up, and did they get to come see it at all the different things? It's so hard anymore. You got one kid running. I think it's different now. You got one kid golfing, one kid running track, one kid cross country, soccer, whatever it is. But talk a little bit about that, and in terms of the spectator aspect of it.
Yeah, my dad came to the West Virginia games, as many as he could get to. when I was with Detroit, he didn't get the opportunity to come up. I mean, it was hard logistically it's a 365-mile trip. So, but they really backed me up a lot, especially through high school and college. Overall, just good experience with them.
And then I asked, I had an interview some time ago with Chris Spielman when he was here speaking, and I asked him this question. I promised I would ask you the same thing, but the numbers. He said that when he was 36 in college, and he was 54 in the pros, and he was something else. He said he never asked. Were you the same number throughout?
No. No, I was 84 in high school, and then 54 in college, and then 61 with Detroit. So, yeah, and I actually played with Chris for his first 2 years with Detroit.
Oh, wow, that is really cool.
Yeah.
And so you never went in and asked for a number or anything like that?
I didn't have enough clout for that.
Well, we want to thank you for your time. Congratulations. Thanks for representing the class of 1981 and taking a little bit of time with us to do this interview, and enjoy it.
My pleasure. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Hall of Famer Scott Barrows, class of 1981, ceremonies October 21st at the Comfort Inn. This is Johnny Wharff reporting for WMOA Sports.